Hello friends, in continuation with my earlier video about the early Vedic age, this video contains topics about the later Vedic age as well as the Vedic literature. The later Vedic age is the period between 1000 BC to 600 BC. There are both literary as well as archaeological sources to study this period. This later Vedic period is based mainly on Vedic texts which were compiled after the age of Rig Veda. Remaining three Vedas, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharva Veda, are the base Vedic texts of later Vedic period. The Vedic Samhitas were followed by series of texts known as Brahmanas. These Brahmanas are full of ritualistic formulae and explain the social and religious meaning of rituals. And these people knew two seas during this period. They are the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean, and they were familiar with the Himalayas also. These people used a particular kind of pottery called painted graveware. This age is also known as painted graveware iron phase because people used earthen bowls and dishes made of painted grey pottery, and they also used iron weapons. So they start in this later Vedic age, people started using iron. Aryans expanded from Punjab over the whole of western Uttar Pradesh, covered by Ganga Yamuna Doab, and even to the borders of Bengal in the east. Kuru, Panchala, Kosala, Kasi, Videha were the important kingdoms during this later Vedic age. Kurus occupied Delhi and the upper portion of Doab. This area is called as Kurukshetra or the land of Kurus. Gradually, these Kuru people unite with the people called Panchalas who occupied the middle portion of Doab. The authority of Kuru Panchala spread over the Delhi gradually, and they set up their capital at Hastinapur in Meerut district. The history of Kuru tribe is very important for the battle for Bharata, which is the main theme of great epic called Mahabharata. As a result, the whole of Kuru clan was wiped out, as we have seen in the Mahabharata. At the end of later Vedic age, after the fall of Kurus and Panchalas, other kingdoms like Kosala, Kasi, and Videha came into prominence. Now we'll see the economic conditions during the later Vedic age. In this age, agriculture became chief means of livelihood. However, these people continued to produce barley or yava, but rice and wheat became their chief crops. In subsequent times wheat or which is also called as goduma became the staple food for the people in Punjab and western Uttar Pradesh. For the first time, the Vedic people came to be acquainted with the term called rice in Doab. Rice is also called as vrihi in Vedic texts. The use of rice is recommended in Vedic rituals also. Also, there were the evidence of texts referring to pulses. That means these people also produce pulses, different kinds of pulses like moong, urad, millets, sesame, and also sugarcane. There were several references in later literature to plows driven by oxen. The plow was probably made of hardwood. It is possible that iron plowshares, which must have been more effective, were used towards the end of this period. And these people practiced mixed farming, which included cultivation and herding. The question of granting of land and its merits and demerits are debated for the first time in the period of legend called Vishwakarma Bhavana. Further, the rights of the Vis are explicitly recognized in the Satapatha Brahmana, which states that the Kshatriya can grant land only with the permission of Vis. The textual references suggest communal ownership of land over which the Vis had the major participatory rights. The term called Nagara, also which means town, was used in the later Vedic texts. Hastinapur and Kaushambi near Allahabad can be regarded as a primitive towns belonging to end of this later Vedic period. The later Vedic people were acquainted with four types of pottery. They are black and red ware, black slipped ware, painted graveware, and redware. The most distinctive pottery of this period was known as painted graveware pottery. Both inland and overseas trade were developed during this later Vedic age when compared to early Vedic age. The people became familiar with the navigation of the seas. These people were engaged in varieties of means of livelihood, new crafts and occupations such as carpentry, tanning, pottery, jewelry, dyeing, and winemaking arose during this later Vedic age. Settled life and agriculture in this period led to the production of surplus, and this was collected in the form of taxes. The taxes were deposited with an officer called Sangrihitri, and there were evidence there were evidences of texts which also mention an officer called Bagaduga, in which this also regards with the taxation only. Now we'll see the society or the social organization during the later Vedic age. The society was divided into four varnas. They are namely Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudras. From these four varnas, Brahmins occupy top position in ritual hierarchy. They perform prayers and sacrifices to king as well as commoners, that is, as well as to the common people. This was done with the help of priests. King was usually a Kshatriya. Vaishyas assigned to do agriculture, cattle breeding, etc. And towards the end of this Vedic age, they began to engage in trade. And Shudras meant to serve the other three Varnas. That is, basically, Shudras were the servants during this later Vedic age. All the three higher Varnas shared a common feature that they were entitled to Upanayana with the sacred thread according to Vedic mantras. The fourth Varna, that is Shudras, were deprived of this ceremony and the recitation of the Gayatri mantra, and with this began the imposition of disabilities on the Shudra. During this period, women lost their importance. They were not allowed to attend the assemblies. Male ancestors came to be worshipped. Women were generally given a lower position. Although some women took part in philosophic discussion and some queens participated in coronation rituals, women were thought to be inferior and subordinate to men. The term Gotra first appeared in Atharva Veda, which means clan. No marriage could take place between persons belonging to the same Gotra during this period. Change of caste became very difficult in this age. There were four ashramas, or the four stages of life, namely Brahmachari, called a student, Grihastha, an householder, Vanaprastha, hermit, and Sannyasik, ascetic, who completely renounced the worldly life. Only the first three are mentioned in the later Vedic texts. The last or the fourth stage had not been well established in the later Vedic times, though ascetic life was not unknown. Education began with an investiture ceremony called Upanayana. On this ceremony with sacred thread, a man became a brahmachari and led a life as a student. Political organization during the later Vedic age. During this period, the power of the king increased. The king performs Ashwamedha, which means unquestioned control over an area in which the royal horse ran uninterrupted. And Vajpaya, he also performs Vajpaya, or the chariot race, in which the royal chariot was made to win the race against his kinsmen. And Rajasuya sacrifice, which was supposed to confer supreme power on him. All these rituals impressed the people with the increasing power and prestige of the king. The kings were usually a Kshatriya. The office of monarch was hereditary. There were traces of election of the chief or the king appeared in the later Vedic texts. The king receives voluntary presents called Bali from his ordinary kinsmen or the common people called Vis. But the chief tried to perpetuate the right to receive presents and enjoy other privileges pertaining to his office by making it hereditary in his family. The post generally went to the eldest son in his family. However, this succession was not always smooth. And during this later Vedic age, assemblies were dominated by nobles and affluent people. As I said, women were not permitted to attend these assemblies. Sabha and Samiti continued to hold ground, but the institution called Vidata completely disappeared during this later Vedic age. The term Rashtra first appeared in this period. Therefore, territorial expansion and warfare started. Now we'll see the religious conditions during the later Vedic age. Prajapati, the creator, came to occupy the supreme position in this later Vedic age. In the early Vedic times, people used to worship Indra and Agni. Now Indra and Agni lost their importance in the later Vedic time. Religious sacrifices became more important and elaborate. These sacrifices were in the form of yajnas such as Rajasu Yajna, Vajpaya, Ashwamedha Yajna, etc. And these yajnas were performed by group of priests who were headed by four head priests called invoker, second one is chanter, third one is performer, and the fourth one is Brahmana, the high priest. For performing these yajnas, the priests were rewarded generously and given gifts like cows and some portions of territory. Some objects began to be worshipped as symbol of divinity. Pushan, who was supposed to look after cattle, came to be regarded as the god for Shudras. People worshipped gods for the same reason in this period as they did in the early Vedic times. However, the mode of worship has been changed. Prayers continued to be recited. Sacrifices became more important during later Vedic time. Towards the end of the Vedic period, there began a strong reaction against the priestly domination, against the cults and rituals, mainly in the lands of Panchala and Videha around 600 BC. Upanishads were the first reaction to Brahmanical dominance, which appeared towards the end of the Vedic age. The Upanishadic doctrine sought to provide an explanation of human suffering and became fundamental to later thinking. Now we'll see the Vedic literature. Rig Veda. It is the oldest Indo-European language text. It is a collection of hymns. It contains 1028 hymns and 10 mandalas. The 10th mandala contains 4 varnas or the Purusha Sukta hymn, whereas 3rd mandala contains Gayatri Mantra, which was compiled in the praise of sun god. The next one is Samaveda. Samaveda is a book of prayers and chants taken from Rig Veda. It's mainly for recitation, prayers of Rig Veda, which were set to tune. Samaveda contains Drupad Raga. That means we can see there is an origin of Indian music mainly during this period. Next, Yajurveda. It contains hymns and rituals. It elaborates rituals which accompany the recitation of hymns. The next one is Atharva Veda. It contains charms and spells to ward off evils and diseases. This tells that there is an origin of Indian medicine during this Vedic age. The next one is Brahmanas. This explains the social and religious aspects of the rituals. There are total of 18 Brahmanas. Sapata Brahmana was one of the important Brahmanas in those 18 Brahmanas. Next one is Aranyakas. Aranyakas are the forest books. This is meant for the instruction to be given for forest dwelling hermits. Next one is Upanishads. It emphasizes the value of right belief and knowledge. Upanishads are total 108 in number. Brihadaranyaka is considered to be the oldest Upanishad. Vedangas. These are the limbs of Vedas. Vedangas are 6 in number. Nirukta is the oldest Indian linguistic text. Panini's Astadhyayi is considered to be the oldest Indian grammar. Smritis. It explains the rules and regulations in Vedic life. Manusmriti is considered to be the first law book. Narada Smriti, Yajnavalkya, Parashara Smriti are some of the Smritis. Darshanas. There are 6 schools of Indian philosophy called Shada Darshana. They are Yoga Darshana, called as Patanjali, Sankhya Darshana, Kapila, Nyaya Darshana, Gautam, Purva Mimamsa, Jamini, Uttara Mimamsa, Badrayana or Vyasa, Vaisheshika Darshana, Kannada Rishi. Next one is Upavedas. There are total four Upavedas. They are Ayurveda, Shilpa Veda, Gandharva Veda, and Dhanurva Veda. So these are the some of the scriptings during the Vedic period. So that is all about the early and later Vedic ages, and we will discuss the more topics in my upcoming videos. Thank you.